Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to finish up here this afternoon. Bruton Smith was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame today, and I'll dare say if there's anyone who has meant more to the sport and helped the sport grow any more than Bruton Smith. And, here representing his father is Marcus Smith, President and CEO of Speedway Motorsports and General Manager of Charlotte Motor Speedway. And as I told your dad the other night, Marcus, just was very thankful for the opportunity to all the great things he's done for the sport and the facilities that he's built, so forth. But just talk about the significance of your father going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Sure. Thank you, Kerry. At dinner the other night, we had dinner in the Hall of Honor on Wednesday night, I think it was, Thursday night.
Thursday.
And it was really special. We had at the table, Darrell Waltrip was there, Mike Helton was there, Winston joined us as well, and it was a lot of fun to tell stories. And a few of the stories I knew about, and a few of the stories I didn't know about. And I was telling Karen and others earlier today that my dad has so many stories. There are lots that I have not heard. When we go to dinner or we go to lunch, and if you all were there with us, he'd have something that would spur on his memory of another story that I hadn't heard, and I just love it. And every once in a while I'll say, hey, you haven't told me that one. So the other night he told a story of driving cars. Darrell asked him, Bruton, you drove races, but did you ever win one? And he said, oh yeah, I won a race, won a few of them, but my favorite one was such and such. And he told a story about driving hard and running a fellow race car driver kind of up in the marbles and winning the race. And he told another story of promoting a race, and it only got to halfway, and got halfway. Normally, halfway you call the race, but he decided it was only half of a race, so he got half of the trophy and took it to the shop and cut it in half and paid the driver half the purse and gave him half the trophy. And later came back and ran that race, and it worked out. Actually, the same driver won the other half. So we're just really proud of my dad. He loves his family and his friends and his work, and the people that he works with are his friends. All of our general managers of each speedway were here today. People from Sonic Automotive, our sister company, friends from all around came in to be part of the weekend and had a great time with it.
Take some questions for Marcus. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll start here with Kenny, then we'll go to Wolfgang, Nate, Bob.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Marcus, we've seen in this sport, like when Brian started doing more things for NASCAR in place of his father, he didn't do things the same way his father did. I don't know if he did everything his father would have done or he liked him to do. When you started doing things in what had been your father's role, did he ever come to you and say, I wouldn't have done that, or did you ever do anything that he got onto you for or maybe wasn't pleased with?
Great question. I'm sure, and I'm sure he has a great way of suggesting things. It's kind of like today when he said, my mom, when he was driving race cars, and he said, my mom said, I wish you wouldn't do that. My dad's the same way. He would say something. If he doesn't want you to do something, he'll say, well, I'm not sure if that's a good idea. He doesn't really say, no, don't do that. He'll just suggest something else. And so for my dad, I guess there have been a few times when, and I honestly can't remember what it might be, but where he said, well, I'm not sure I would have done that. Here's what you might consider anyway. But he is, as a manager, he lets the managers of the business do their job, take risks, and really likes to be involved, but not doing their job. He likes to watch and see how they do. And if somebody does something or tries something that maybe it's not his idea, he's not the kind of person that would say, I don't like the results. But he is the kind of person who would say, I wouldn't have done it that way, but it worked out pretty good. And that's always encouraging. And I think that's how he's developed such great managers over the years. So many people that have gone on to start their own business or be successful in other lines.
Let's go to Wolfgang right there. Go ahead.
Guten Tag.
And then we'll go to Bob. Go ahead, Wolfgang.
Guten Tag, Wolfgang.
Yeah, guten Tag. But I think I can ask the question in English. And you don't
Ich spreche ein bitte Deutsch.
First of all, congratulations for induction of your father in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It was mentioned in the film that your father or your company owns 8 speedways or racetracks now. Nevertheless, there are states or countries in America, such a big continent, which are totally untouched by NASCAR racing or any kind of speedway racing. For example, North and South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Washington State. Is there any plan to go up there and build speedways?
Well, it's a great question. Not every state has NASCAR racing. There are a lot of states that would love to have a NASCAR facility, and if anybody would like us to build a speedway in their state that doesn't have one, just let us know. We're open to ideas.
Go ahead, Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. I have 2. Quickly, have you checked with Pepsi on the status of their deal at Bristol Motor Speedway yet?
That was just a misspoken item. It used to be Coke in Bristol, and in the heat of things, they just a little bit misspoken.
Things are still good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm guessing they would extend some grace there. Yeah.
Marcus, we haven't really had a chance to ask your father much about this honor because of his battle over the last year. How do you think it set in with him tonight? I mean, it seemed like he really relished it. I mean, do you think, like, as it got closer, he started to realize what the magnitude of it was?
Yes, I think that's a great question. He was diagnosed in May with lymphoma, and early December we found after a process of treatment through the summer and the fall that he was cancer-free. Very thankful for that, and grateful that we can look back on it, and learned a lot through the process. But for him, this honor has been overshadowed certainly by the battle with cancer. But as we got to this week, and I know for me, it got much more real, and I know for him it did as well. And it was probably most evident on Thursday night at our dinner in the Hall of Honor with the other Hall of Fame members and their guests, where things really started to settle in, and you realized, wow, this is really happening, and it really is special. And I could tell, and he and I talked in the car on the way home that evening about what it meant to him and how he really enjoyed it and appreciated it. And yesterday, having the ceremony delayed one day was an opportunity to think about it and talk about it even more with friends and family. So it certainly is a special honor for my dad. And if Winston were here, the one thing I'd ask him is, I was thinking the spire would look great in his entry hall at the house. I don't know if we get one of those. Do you, Kerry?
I'm
They
not
come-
sure. All I have
do
to
we get
let
an extra
Winston-
one to take home?
I'll let Winston check on that for you. Not sure.
Yeah, but he is really appreciative, and I've told people before that he doesn't do things to get awards. He doesn't really relish a victory as much as he does a challenge, and that's probably something in common with a lot of the Hall of Famers, I would guess. He's certainly someone who just relishes the challenge, loves the climb, and when he achieves a goal, he quickly moves to the next opportunity and the next challenge. But in any case, he really has enjoyed this time, and I'm sure right now is really enjoying talking to friends and family about it.
finish up right there in the middle with Bob Pockers. Go ahead, Bob.
Pockers, ESPN.
Bob.
My question is much like Nate's, but I guess you talked about the other night and talking to your dad about it yesterday. Was there anything that you saw today during the ceremony that made you know that it was important to him, especially because, again, you know, there were times where he was like almost a take it or leave it as far as this place goes?
Right. Well, that, you know, is in really distant past for him. I mean, he hasn't felt that way for months, but it was special today for him to see friends and, you know, to see Ned Jarrett, to see Junior Johnson, and so many of the other Hall of Famers. Darrell Waltrip and he are close, and he really just enjoyed the time, enjoyed speaking with longtime friends that he hasn't seen in a long time. We were sitting in a chair backstage prior to him going on, and I was refreshing him on what we were going to do. Said, you know, I'm going to walk you out, and Keselowski is going to say a few words about you, and then DW is going to come and introduce you, and then it's your chance to talk. And he said, okay, I'll just be a few minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And I said, okay, that's what I figured. That's what I told him. And I even had a bet with, I guess I mentioned that from the stage. I did have a bet. I didn't think he could go longer than 6 minutes. Bet $1, and I lost it. So I could tell when he took the microphone that he was excited and that he was ready to tell some stories. And that's great. You know, I wish you all could all go to dinner with us one night or a lunch and just ask him some questions. Next time we get him in front of the microphone, ask him about his first race he ever promoted. Ask him about the first race he ever went to. Ask him about building other speedways other than the ones that you know of now. He's done so much. He drove pace cars for Bill France. He was just talking earlier about being at Daytona on opening day and riding around the property with Big Bill France and seeing a backup of traffic at the tunnel in turn 4. And Bill said, what do you think we ought to do about this? And my dad said, we ought to get out and help direct traffic. Let's go. He's done so much in the sport. And I think when you really look at it, he's done so much in every decade that he has been a part of it. It's really phenomenal.
Well, Marcus, congratulations to you and your family. Certainly congratulations to your father. And we certainly appreciate everything that the Smith family does and continues to do for NASCAR. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Look forward to seeing y'all in Daytona. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.